Well, good damn evening, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. People, I am tired. Got up at 4 this morning, worked a full shift, came home, finished helping a family member move, went to the storage unit, unloaded the U-Haul, all that shit. So I'm worn out, but I'm still here with you because I love you guys. Anyway, I told you guys in my last video that I would tell you the story of my best friend growing up, David, when he broke his ankle after his parents let him spend the night for the first time at somebody's house. And I think today is very fitting. Today is David's 45th birthday. Happy birthday to you, you old some bitch. So, let me set the scene for you. 1988. I can't remember. I feel like the day was long, so maybe it was. Yeah, it was probably. I don't remember if it was summer or what. I don't know, but if it wasn't summer, I'm sure it was like a Friday or Saturday evening. Because growing up, you only had sleepovers on Fridays and Saturdays. Sunday, got to get ready for the school week. So David's parents let him spend the night for the first time at anybody's house, and it was my house. So me and David were tight. David and I were like Riggs and Murtaugh. If you saw one, you saw the other. We played together. We laughed together. We got ass whoopings together. We got in trouble together. Thick as thieves. So when he got to spend the night over my house, it was a big deal. So I was like, man, we're going to have fun. When we spend the night at his house, usually Big Trouble in Little China was our selection for our movie to watch. The 80s. Come on. Greatest decade ever. Fight me in the comments. So David comes over to my house and we're going outside to play. Remember when kids used to go outside and play? And before it's screen time. And the last thing my mom told us, because we had a really long driveway and it was pretty steep. The last thing my mom told us was, don't ride your bikes down the driveway. Because I was the bottom of the driveway, then it was our street. She didn't want us flying out into the street. There's a car coming, bam. She didn't want anything bad to happen. Like any parent. So you tell your kids, hey, don't do A and B. And what did we hear? Wah, 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 wah. Didn't hear shit. So that was the last thing she told us. So what's the first thing we did? I bet you can't guess the first thing that David and I did after my mom explicitly told us, don't ride down the driveway. So all we heard was, ride down the driveway, because that's what we did. I had a bike. I only had one bike. He didn't bring his bike, so I rode my bike, my red Mongoose, down the driveway, and David took the big wheel. Now, David was a little more adventurous than I was. He had a little more Evel Knievel in him than I did, so he gladly took the big wheel. So he starts going down the driveway, and I'm behind him. Man, he flies. Remember that scene in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation where he put that fucking grease or whatever that was on the bottom of that sled? That's what David was like. He goes flying past me on that big wheel. The pedals on the big wheel are spinning like this. He can't even put his feet on them to stop them. They're spinning so damn fast. So he goes flying down, and I look, what's coming down the road? A car. So I said, David, a car. So along the driveway was this big curb that was, made out of asphalt, and it went down the length of the driveway. So David, not wanting to go out in the street and get killed by a car, he sticks his foot out and his foot hits the curb. I don't know how fast David was going. Somebody Google ask Grok, how fast can an 8-year-old kid go down a driveway on a big wheel? It was pretty fast. So David stuck his foot out to stop himself, and all of that energy coming down the driveway fast as shit on that big wheel went through David's ankle, his 8-year-old virgin ankle. So by the time I get to the bottom of the driveway, which was 3.5 to 4 seconds, maybe, it looked like David had a tennis ball in his sock. his ankle fucking blew up immediately. I was like, oh shit. Because remember the beginning of the story, kids. The last thing my mom said was, don't ride down the driveway. So boom. I'm no doctor, especially 8 years old. I wasn't Doogie Howser, but I knew his ankle wasn't supposed to look like that. It wasn't supposed to look like his ankle was 9 months pregnant. That shit was a big ass ball. So I'm like, oh shit. David's like, ow, 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 and all this shit. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, self-preservation for me and David. Because this was back in the day when you could get your ass whooped at somebody else's house. So self-preservation kicks in, and I said, and I swear to you, the first thing that popped into my head was, speaking of Riggs and Murtaugh, Riggs, Lethal Weapon 2, remember? His shoulder would get dislocated, and how did Riggs put his shoulder back in place? He'd find a stationary object and slam that shit into it. But little did I know at 8 years old, that's called Hollywood. So I'm like, hey, let me try to pop it back in place. That way we won't get in trouble. David looks at me and goes, okay. So I put one hand above the tennis ball and one hand below the tennis ball, and I counted to 3, and I pushed with my left hand and pulled with my right hand, doing my best Mel Gibson impersonation, my best Martin Riggs. So I count to 3, crank on it, like a blood-curdling scream. Like in a movie, you'd hear somebody scream like that and it would echo, and then you would see like a flock of birds take off out of a tree because the sound was so loud. It was like that. So of course, since the pain went shooting up David's leg, of course we had to try it again. So I said, let me try it one more time. And David, with pain and agony on his face, he said, okay. Same thing. One hand above the tennis ball, one hand below the tennis ball. A 1 and a 2 and a cranked on it. It's like, damn, I think David and I both decided that's enough. So I had to sack up and go up the hill, up the driveway, and tell my mom that we did exactly what you told us not to, and now David's ankle is broken. So, of course, my mom went from 0 to murderous in the blink of an eye, because the last thing she told us was, don't ride down the damn driveway. So my mom cuts me a look, and if looks could kill, I would have died right there in the kitchen. I remember she was cooking dinner. She had an apron on. She rinsed her hands off, dried them on her apron, took her apron off, grabbed her keys, down the driveway, loaded David and his broken ankle up in the truck. I remember it was a 80-something F-150. And my mom used to have a 67 Buick Skylark. But anyway, she flies down the driveway, throws David in the truck, and I don't remember, maybe my mom called from the hospital, because, this is way before cell phones and whatnot. So maybe she called his parents from the hospital, but she told them, they went to the hospital. So my dad was gone. So I don't know how long it was after my mom took off, but my dad, he comes home and he says, where's your mom? And I told him what happened. My dad just looked at me like, hey, nothing I can do for you, son. Remember Bill Dukes, the detective in Menace to Society? He said, you done fucked up, don't you? That's how my dad looked at me. He was like, bruh, I can't do nothing for you, man. Your mom told you not to do it, and you did it. So to the victor go the spoils, and to the kid goes the ass whooping. So, yeah. My mom took David to the hospital. I didn't see him after that until we went to school that next Monday. He's on crutches. His parents are all pissed off. We let him go somewhere for the first time. Breaks his damn ankle. So yeah, you better believe that when my mom got home, there was no more talking necessary. My mom whipped my ass, and guess what me and David never did again? We never rode our bikes down the driveway. So the moral of the story is, kids, listen to your parents, okay? Now, before I get out of here, I got to give a big shout out to my niece. She was written up in the paper, the Monterey Herald. She is an exceptional and very talented volleyball player, And she does travel league. She was on the varsity team in her high school when she was a freshman. She's extremely talented. She can really go places with her abilities. And we're so proud of her. It's been, when you have kids and nieces and stuff like that, watching them grow up. And I tell her often, stop getting older. She doesn't listen. She keeps getting older. She keeps accomplishing more things. She's a beautiful girl inside and out. And she's the teenager that you want. We've spent a lot of time around her. We live a few hours apart now. But she is the teenager you want. She's very well behaved, professional, responsible. She does have a job, so I imagine she is professional. But she just keeps growing. The first thing, she was born, she was born 9 days before my wife and I got married. So we got married in Hawaii. Her mom stayed back with her, naturally. Her brother came to the wedding. And I remember during the reception, throughout the day, he's calling, checking on the baby and stuff. So she's born, she's 1, she's 5, she's 10, she's 15. I got my license. I'm a junior in high school. What the hell? Slow down. But we're very proud of her. Shout out to mom and dad, Uncle Case, Aunt Manda. You've done a great job. You're doing a great job. Children, good or bad, are a reflection of you. And if that's the case, you're doing pretty damn good. And keep it up. She has 2 younger sisters. Shout out to Cassidy, aka Pie, middle child, and of course the baby, the ruler of the household, baby Addie Cakes. They're also going to do great things in their life, and when they do, I'll be right here singing their praises. But shout out to Ken's. She was written up in the Monterey Herald, and it said, one of the things in there, it says she had 135 kills in the second half of the season. I don't know enough about volleyball. I guess I should. But 135 kills, that's a lot. Unless you're John Wick, you're not getting 135 kills. So congratulations, sweetheart. Keep it up. You're doing wonderful. We're so proud of you. You're an awesome child. You're intelligent. You're focused. Stay that way. Maybe after you graduate high school, join a convent, move into a castle with a moat around it. So you little stupid blind, stay away from you. So a stupid boy, well, you know what I mean. I can't even say it. And my daughter, she's 13, people. My daughter's 13. What the fuck? I was holding her 5 minutes ago, bringing her home from the hospital. I remember I went out to the car to get the car seat to bring it in to take her home from the hospital. And there were like 3 or 4 nurses walking toward me. And so I tripped and fell and acted like I dropped the car seat with a baby. Oh, that shit was hilarious. So real quick, let me tell you a quick story about my wonderful niece, Ken's, the volleyball star, who's written up in the Monterey Herald. She was about 2 years old. My wife and I took her to the park, and there were all these benches. And she says, she meant to say, look at the benches, but because she was 2, she said, look at the bitches. So, of course, being the good uncle that I am, I said, what are those? She said, bitches. And I said, say, bench, bench, bench. She said, bitch, bitch, bitch. So that was hilarious. So I taught her first cuss words. And now she is a junior in high school. People, take the time. I know you're tired. I know you're working hard. I know that you're doing your best to provide for your kids, but take the time to be with them. Take the time to spend time, because you will blink, and next thing you know, you're walking her down the aisle and handing her off to some dickhead to protect her for the rest of her life. That's all they want from us parents is our time. And apparently, Kenzie's parents are spending the right amount of time because they are raising wonderful children. So meet me in the comments. Maybe you have a cool story about your best friend and you guys did some dumb shit. Or maybe you have a story about your child or your niece who are accomplishing great things due to your great parenting. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. I'm out.